Well, we are back with this RX7. This thing is back in the shop. I need to get working on this thing. I need to diagnose it. That thing has been here all year long. We got to get something done. We got to figure something out. So we've pretty much done everything that we set out to do, except get it running. And we know that we got fuel. We know we got the fuel pumps working. Brand new fuel pump we put in the brand new tank. Got a brand new oil change, brand new fuel filter. We got a brand new clutch master cylinder, brand new clutch slave cylinder. We got a brand new brake master cylinder, clutch and the brake and everything seems to work, you know, but it don't start. We need to diagnose this thing. Okay, so I've done a little bit of, you know, off-camera diagnostics, and I'm gonna run you through that to see, so you can see what I saw. But there's a weird thing about it is, the last time that we worked on this, before I pushed the thing out the door, I went ahead and I checked to see if we had injector drive, you know, and well, what's injector drive? Whenever you crank the engine or the engine's running, it gets power and ground to the injectors. And as it gives power and ground, the injector opens and it sprays fuel. So that's injector drive, is that power and ground going to the injectors. That's what I call injector drive. So I went ahead and checked to see if we had injector drive. I used a little Noid light, and I'm going to show you that. I'll try and show you that. Of course, you know, whenever it flashes, you can't see the flash depending on the, you know, the camera that you're using and stuff. Anyway, I'm going to tell you right now that before I pushed the thing out, I checked to see if we had injector drive, and I swear I saw the thing blinking when I was cranking on it. And I was like, oh, we got injector drive, so what else could it be? Injectors, right? So, I mean, I even looked up, you know, a bunch of parts and stuff like that. I know you can't see this. So, you know, I was basically ready to replace the injectors in this thing. Give the customer price quote on injectors. But I'm like, yeah, I'm gonna double check that. So I was outside yesterday, out in the heat, in the sun, trying to diagnose this thing, and I couldn't get the thing to blink. You know, with no blinking whenever I was cranking it over. But one thing that I noticed just watching the last video, whenever we replaced that slave cylinder, there was a ground on that slave cylinder bolt. I don't know if y'all saw the video, if you saw that or you missed it. So whenever I took the old slave cylinder out, it took the two bolts out, there was a ground on it, and the ground kind of fell to the side. Whenever I put the new slave cylinder on, I didn't put the ground, I didn't see it. I went back, I put the ground. I don't even know why I'm telling you. It doesn't make didn't make any difference. So, but the ground's on there. So if you did see it, I'll let you know. The ground is on there. Oh well. So where are we? Let me show you what I found. So one thing about this vehicle is this vehicle is in the era which I call medieval times. All right. So if you think about it like this, old times is like horse and carriage, right? I would consider like an old square body pickup, you know, old times, you know, the old vehicles, they got like almost no electronics, you know, they just run. You just start them up and they just run, you know, and that's it. You know, the thing's running bad, you just smack on the carburetor with a wrench, you know, and it starts running better, right? Needle and seat stuck, you know, whatever. That's old times. Medieval times, it's old times, but now we got all kinds of electronical stuff in here, and we got no way of diagnosing it. So medieval times is like, you know, horse and carriage, but now we got magic, you know, and the magic is coming out, you know, the knight and the sword and the sorcerer, and, you know, we got some magic. We don't know how the magic works, but it's just there. Like, somebody got magic, right? So that's what this has, magic. And we don't know how to check it. We don't know how it works. You know, it's OBD1. Yeah, OBD1. And then, of course, the new vehicles nowadays with OBD2, you know, would be what I consider the future, you know, or what is the future, or the now, or however you want to say, you know, OBD2 diagnostics. We can actually get in, hook a scanner up, look at data. We can run codes and stuff like that. But not this one. This is medieval times. So anyway, let's stop talking. Let's get into this, and I'll show you what I saw yesterday, and I may have discovered something, and then other stuff I don't know. We don't know. Oh no. Okay, let's start with this first. So this is my Noid light, okay, and I have it hooked to this connector right here. This is the injector connector for the injector down there, and I have these two wires hooked on here. Right inside here, that's the Noid light. There's a little LED right in there. So let me get y'all set up. And sometimes, so I'm just gonna, you know, spoiler alert, I'm gonna let you know that it ain't blinking. So if you can see right inside there, hopefully you can see. So if it blinks, you'll see it. So sometimes whenever I turn the key on, I'll get one blink. But when I crank, nothing. Let's just see what happens. I got the battery hooked up, and the battery is starting to wear down from all the cranking and no charging. So I'm just gonna crank it over. I'm gonna turn the key on. Let's see. Yeah, I got one blink. Cranking, no blinking. So I don't want to crank it much more than that. So that is the first step. So I got no injector drive. And somebody's been in here before. I mean, we knew that somebody was in here. So, I mean, just for instance, and I don't know if you can see that. You see that little green wire right there? It looks like somebody pierced that wire. You know, I don't know if you can see that. But somebody's been opening this harness and just probing at it, poking at it, which is like the wrong thing to do. It's just, let's check right here, check voltage here, you know, whatever. So, yeah. So the next thing, this was not the first thing that I did, because I believed that we had injector drive. I thought it was injectors. But check this out. I'm gonna hook this up. So I have this connector plugged into this injector down here. So right there, I have this connector plugged in there. It was kind of hard to get in, so I don't want to pull it out until I'm ready to pull it out. But it's connected to the injector, and I got these two wires right here. And one of the tests that the service manual said to do was to, you know, supply power and ground to that injector right there, and see if it clicks, see if you can hear a clicking noise. And I did that, and you can hear it. You can hear it clicking. I used a stethoscope on it, but I found out something else. Let me get my power probe and let me hook this up, and I'll show you what I found. Okay, this is what I got going here. I have my power probe right here. I have the positive cable on this alligator clip hooked to this one of the leads. I have the negative hooked to the other lead. Okay, and so basically what I was doing is I'm hitting this button right here, supplying power and ground. I don't want that thing to short out on anything. But I'm hitting power and ground. Come on. Get out of the way. To activate this injector. So this was the easiest injector to take off. I don't know if you can see that, it's way back in there. But, and it's clicking. Let me see, I don't know if this will work. I'm gonna take this microphone and put it next to the injector. See if you can hear it clicking. Anyway, I don't know if you heard that or not, but it is definitely clicking. So that, you know, tells me that. So that tells me that the thing is actually, you know, the pintle is moving. Does it mean that it's injecting? No. Doesn't mean it's injecting, just means that it's moving. You know, I have no idea. Okay, so I wasn't sure if the thing would even move. It might be stopped up with rust and stuff like that. But check this out. So yesterday, after doing that, I went ahead and cranked it. So I hit this a bunch of times, just checking it out, and then I went to crank it to check this, and let's see what happens. Okay, so the thing does not, the fuel pump does not come on until it's actually cranking. And then I came over here, I hit this a bunch of times. So what I found is whenever I hit this button, it's actually injecting fuel. And I did that a bunch of times. And then I came over here, cranked it over, and it started for a second. That's it. So that tells me that at least that injector right there is spraying fuel. So just by hitting this button right here a bunch of times, every time I do that, whatever fuel pressure is in the fuel rail is spraying into at least that back rotor right there. I went a little bit further. I had my Mazda service manager crank the engine over, and I just sat here, just kept hitting it. And of course, you know, I'm not going to get proper fuel ratio, air ratio or whatever, you know, by doing that, but it was just a test, and sure enough, the thing started, it ran. It didn't run very good, but it ran better than when it was running on ether, you know. So anyway, we know that that injector works, but what we also know is we're not getting an injector drive at all. Injector drive. So I was going through wiring schematics trying to figure out how am I going to do this. This is a medieval times vehicle. And then I found this. So I got a bunch of wiring schematics and stuff that I printed out here from the book that I got from EMANUALONLINE. I wanted to check my grounds and you know, powers and grounds to see if the PCM, you know, has proper power and ground and everything. And of course, they don't call it a PCM; they call it an emissions control unit. You know, it's buried deep underneath the dashboard right there. And then I found this right here. So let me turn this on. And then I recognize this self-diagnostic checker. And I remember seeing that. I've used that before. It's been a long time, a long time. I remember working on a Mazda 929. Y'all remember 929? That was basically as a Ford probe, I think. You know, Mazda 929, 626. Yeah, I remember working on all those. But we have that tool somewhere, so I'm gonna go and see if I can find it. And so this is OBD1. It should set a code. It should be setting a code for whatever is causing the thing to not have injector drive. So what is the first thing? You know, let's go by basics, the basic rule of thumbs. I mean, kind of like a basic engine diagnostics. You know, you need air, you know, fuel and compression, right, for an engine to run. So in this case, it's a little bit more than that, because air, fuel, and compression would be old school, old time, you know, horse and carriage. And then in comes medieval times. You need a, you know, not just air, fuel, and compression, but you need a way to get the fuel. You got injectors, so you need injector drive, right? How do you get injector drive? You need the crank position sensor. Needs to be able to determine, if the you know, where the crankshaft is in order to inject the injectors for the PCM or emissions control unit to inject injectors properly. And I would say that that's working because we're getting spark. You know, this thing doesn't have a cam, you know, there ain't no cam sensor. So it's got an eccentric shaft. So the eccentric shaft sensor, you know, crank position sensor, whatever. What else? What else does it need? I mean, it needs to have some kind of a timing, you know, and that all falls within that. I mean, let's just see if I can find that tool. Let's see if it's showing any kind of code. On traditional OBD1 vehicles, you could just take a wire, you know, like a, you know, bobby pin or something like that. Like just a piece of wire and just short out two connectors, and your check engine light would start blinking. And then you read the check engine light blinking, and then it would tell you what the code is. Does this thing even have a check engine light? So I'm getting absolutely no lights. I have no lights on the dash. I have a shift up light. I don't even have a brake light. No, I don't have anything. Oh, there's my lights. I'm looking at the cluster. I'm like, I'm not seeing anything. Here's all the lights right here. Overheat exhaust system, add coolant, charge, level, wash. You know, I see no check engine light. Does it even have a check engine light? And one of the things, so I don't think that this vehicle was born with a check engine light. But I know it's OBD1, a type of OBD1, not American OBD1. And that is one of the things that, you know, had changed with OBD2 is every vehicle has to be the same so that you can actually diagnose it, especially generic codes when it comes to emissions and stuff, you know, but this was before that time. So let me see if I can find that tool. I can find that tool, hook it up and see what code pops up, and hopefully it'll help us diagnose this. So I'll be back. Okay, look what I found. Look at this old thing. Yeah, so this is the old OBD1 Mazda diagnostic tester, and then you see this little selector thing. You can select, you know, self-test switch. So this right here is hooked to this other thing right here. So it's hooked to this. This thing right here is like, I don't know if you would call it the second phase of OBD1. It has this connector right here. Where's my light? Oh, okay. So it has this connector. And a lot of, you know, when they came to what I call the second phase, I have no idea. They have these connectors like this. So you plug this in and then plug this into your tester right here. And then this, I guess, will give you a reading on this screen right here. And, but we don't have this. So we're real medieval time, beginning of the medieval ages. So we can't use that, but we can use this. And I need to plug this in somewhere and find out where I can plug it in. And from what I know of, oh great, my other light's going out. Hook this to ground. So I have the DCA 8000P hooked up. I'm supplying power to this battery just because, you know, I don't want the battery to die, because we're going to be doing some testing with the key on. And so I was looking around and I found this right here. Is that connector right there? I mean, what is this? Why is this here? And it's got a little thing to hold it in place. So before, you know, with that other second phase one or whatever, that it would have a little connector that would sit up, and then you'd plug that thing in. That's your OBD1 connector. And that looks just like this, pretty much. That's where this thing was plugged in. So I'm going to take this, set it right here, and all we should have to do is just turn the key on. I mean, it should have the code in. OBD1, from what I remember, you disconnect the battery and it will clear the code. OBD2 doesn't do that. So we haven't disconnected the battery since I cranked it last. I'll take this and plug it in the way that it was plugged into that other thing. Right there. And let me read this thing. So according to this, it says warm up the engine to normal operating temperature. Yeah, that's not going to happen. Connect self-diagnostic checker to the check connector as shown. It shows that it's connected to a connector there. So turn selector switch to B on self-diagnostic checker. Check for code number indication. If a code number is indicated, check for the cause of the problem. So let's hook it to B, turn it to B. B, it's switched to B already. I'm going to untangle this, maybe. Untangle it a little bit. And this is going to go to the negative battery terminal. Right there. And then I'm just going to turn the key on and see what happens. Hopefully it doesn't explode. I turn the key on. Key is on. I hear something beeping over here. Okay, look at that. I don't know if you can see that. 08. That's our code, 08. So let's find out what 08 is. Let me turn the key off. So according to this, 08, got 01, 02, so it's missing. I got 01, 02, 03, 04, 05, 06, 07, 09, 12, 15. What happened to 08? 07 is a boost sensor, 09 atmospheric pressure sensor. And this doesn't give you, even OBD2 does not tell you what to replace. And there's a lot of people that think that, you hook up the scanner and it tells you, oh, replace this sensor and you fix the vehicle. No, it doesn't work that way. I wish it did. It would be easy. It would be too easy. We wouldn't have a job. OBD1 is even worse than OBD2. All it does is it gives you an area, what it might be. And this isn't, okay, okay, so if you had code 02 airflow meter, and it just tells you maintains basic signal at present value. This isn't the flow chart. Let me find the flow chart. I don't have a flow chart here. This is code 06. Code 06 says throttle sensor. This shows that if you have code 06, the monitor lamp is on, you're checking the O2 sensor. Yeah, how does that make any sense? So, yeah, let me get into the book on this and print out the actual codes, what they mean, because this isn't the whole thing. The book is enormous, so I didn't want to print out an enormous book. I don't need all that. I just print out the things that I think that I need. Like this little pamphlet here that I printed out basically shows you how to replace the fuel injector, how to take the fuel rail out and test. Yeah. So, which we're probably not doing, but there's something really weird in here. So this wants you, just to let you know how this medieval time stuff works. There's tells you how to check your pressures, fuel pressures and all that. Check your injector, see if your injector is getting fuel. This is the clicky thing that tells you to check and see if you're getting the clicky noise from the injector. And then they have you checking spray pattern. Yeah, so the injector is not bolted in, injector just sits into the manifold and the fuel rail is bolted down on top of it. So it just sits between the fuel rail and the manifold, and that's how it's put in there. They want you to take the fuel rail out and then zip tie the injector to the fuel rail so it doesn't come out with fuel pressure on it. And then they want you to crank it over and see what the spray is. That's the way they want you to do it. Anyway, we're not doing any of that stuff. It does have a resistance check, 12 to 16 ohms for injector. I mean, we could check that, but we know we're not getting any injector drive. So let me just go and see if I can find what code 08 is. So let me get into the book. Okay, this is what this looks like, and it's old school. Of course it is old school because it's an old school vehicle. Like I said, medieval times. So this is the thing that we were just looking at, warm up engine, operating temperature, and all that stuff. As you can see over here, there is no number 8, right? 7 is boost sensor, 09 atmospheric pressure sensor. Where's 8? If I come down here, what am I looking at? Code illumination. So here's code 01, 02, and these are little flow charts. All right, so that's what I'm looking for. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 9. There's no 8. Where's 08, 12, 15? And then we're going on to something else. This is another. Well, we may have this. Hopefully we don't need to use it. Oh my God, so this is not helping us at all. Why does it have 08? Does 08 a generic code? So we're hooking up code 06. There's a connector. It looks like an ignition coil pack. Wait a second. Okay, so that's ignition coils. That is on the other side of the vehicle. Is there another connector there? Let's check that out. Okay, so I was looking through the wiring schematic before, just running out here, and this connector, from what I can tell, looking through all the schematics and everything, says it's for an actuator. I have no idea what kind of actuator. I have to pull that off. I mean, it can't be for a headlamp, because that's, I mean, that's down there somewhere, you know. And it says that there's an actuator, F13 there, and an F14 should be another actuator connector, and it's pointing somewhere over here. I have no idea, but I found this. So here's the ignition coils, and look at this green one. It looks the same. I don't know. I mean, here's the other ignition coil, but the way that the picture was showing was that the fender was right here, and it was connected right here, and there was the ignition coil. So that's got to be it. That's got to be it, right? So let me get that disconnected, and let's connect it over here, and see what happens. I mean, if that ain't it, if the thing blows up, I mean, it's not helping us any, so let's just blow it up so it can't ever help anyone ever again. So that sounds good. Let's do that. Okay, put this thing right here. Plug this in the way that it looked like it was plugged into that other thing, to this connector. Is it in? Yeah, it's on. B, the negative terminal's plugged in. Let me turn on the key. Let's see what happens. You might squint your eyes because it might blow up. Okay, I hear it beeping. Okay, wait a second. 03. Beeping 3 times. I don't know if y'all can hear that. Okay, but it had something else. It had 88, 08. Okay, let's just say that this is our code, because it's just sticking with 03. Three beeps. You know what this means? That's the right connector. Okay, let me turn the key off and turn it back on. Let's see what happens again. Key off, key back on. 88. .08, which means nothing. I think it went to the 3 beeps right away, and then it settled on 03. So we're gonna go with 03. What is 03? What is 03? 03. I didn't print the thing out. 03. Water temperature sensor. Seriously? Water temperature, water thermo sensor. It maintains constant 80 degrees Celsius, 176 degrees Fahrenheit command. What the? How is a water thermo sensor keeping the engine from starting? Maybe it thinks it's overheating, so it doesn't want to start. Oh God. Okay, well that's something to look into. Look into the actual wiring, the flow chart for 03, for code 3, code 03, code 3, whatever. Medieval times 3. Let me turn the key off. So, yeah, let me go get that flow chart, and then we'll do whatever diagnostic that thing says to do, whatever check. And let's just start there. Okay, this is what I found. I printed out this stuff, and this is how I usually do it. You know, I just print out. I waste a bunch of paper diagnosing stuff because I can see stuff better on paper than, you know, trying to pull a tablet around. And tablets like to fall and they break. And anyway, I ain't got no tablet on this. You know, this is old school anyway. So what am I doing? The flow chart says code 03. Code 03 illumination. Come on. So looking right here, and I know y'all probably can't see this. So there's 2 temperature sensors. So there's a water thermo sensor, which I believe is for the PCM, or the emissions control unit, like they call it. And then there's a water temperature sensor that is in the radiator. I don't know, that might be it right there. And that is for your gauge on your cluster. So we're talking about water thermo sensor, and it's are there any poor connections at the connectors? I don't know. Is the resistance of the water thermo sensor within specifications referred to 4A-46? That's page 4A-46, and I went to that. I had it here just a second ago, I think. Or did I? Yeah. Okay, so in this case right here, the water thermo sensor, they want you to take the sensor and put it into some water with a, you know, a flame underneath it, and heat it up, you know, and cook it to the right temperature or something. Disconnect the water thermo sensor connector, remove the sensor from the water pump. That's what it says. Install in reverse order. Okay. That's for the installation. So the inspection, place a water thermo sensor in water with the thermometer and heat the water gradually. Check the resistance of the sensor using an ohm meter, and it gives me a couple readings here. For instance, 68 degrees Fahrenheit should be 2.45 plus or minus 0.24 kiloohms. So I'm not gonna take the, so okay, this is another thing I was looking at right here. So it's not in the water pump from what I can tell from looking at, so I had to go back and look at the wiring schematic, find the water thermo sensor, look at the connection. That this is, says it's EM25. I know you probably can't read that. EM23, I'm sorry, 23 23. It shows that it's black and what is that? Green with white. And EM23 shows it's going right there, and that is behind the alternator. So behind the alternator, right here where this looks like some rat or something chewed up here, somebody was checking it out. That's it way down there. And it looks like a green with white and black wire. One other thing that I just found is this is the fuel pressure regulator at the end of the fuel rail here, and this hose is really stiff. It's broke off down there. I don't know if y'all can see that. So this is broken. Maybe I can just cut that off and stick it back down. But you know, this isn't really gonna matter until the thing gets running. So I'm gonna lay that hose aside. I need to figure out how to get that connector off without breaking it. It's really hard to get to. And I mean, it's not going into the water pump. What's it going in? What is it hooked to? What's it going on? Oh, look. Wait a second. It's not even hooked to anything. Pick it up. What in the world? Look at that. I guess that's the end of it. It's all corroded and broken off of wherever it went onto. Okay, so come on, grab it, hold on to it. Dang, well, I can't. I'm trying. My fingers just aren't long enough. Well, grow longer fingers. Okay, I don't know if you could see that. Yeah, that's messed up. So it needs a new one of those. The thing is crumbled. I mean, it is crumbled. Everything in this vehicle is crumbling. And that's to be expected. Where does it go? I have no idea. We're gonna have to take the alternator off. I mean, here's the water pump. It says it goes into the water pump. I mean, where does it go? So I'm gonna have to sell one of those. Can even get one of those, who knows? But that's definitely not right. So one thing is for sure, this thing told us, 03, there's something wrong with your thermo sensor, and it ain't lying. There's something wrong with it. So I mean, we're on to something. Is that why it's not starting? I don't know. No idea. But like I always tell customers when we're in this situation, you know, I mean, let's fix what we know is wrong first, and then let's move on and see what else. So we know that switch is bad. It's broken off, whatever. So let's fix it, and then let's move on to the next thing. Is it the smoking gun? At this point, I mean, who knows? I don't know. I'm not an expert at these vehicles and stuff. Well, I thought you were a master Mazda technician. Well, I am. I'm a master Mazda technician. I guarantee you there are RX7 enthusiasts out there that know a heck of a lot more about these vehicles than I do. And they're, you know, if they're watching this video, or they probably turned it off already, you know, saying this guy don't know what he's doing. But you know, if they are, then they're probably screaming at the TV or whatever, you know, saying that's not the problem, that's this thing over here, you know. Anyway, one thing we might be able to do, I need to find out where that thing plugs in. I'm going to get a price on it and stuff like that. But in the meantime, dig that junk out of there. And one thing I can do, so, I mean, I could try, I don't know if this will work or not. It's just an idea, you know. I'm just, you know, curious. Let's just find out. So here's the resistances and the temperatures and the resistance that it should be. So I figure if the vehicle is sitting at 68 degrees Fahrenheit, then it should start. You know, right now this thing's not even plugged in. Who knows? Was that thing shorting? you know, who knows what it thinks right now. It's not like we can, you know, hook up a scanner and look at the data on the thermo sensor, you know, which would be nice, which is why we have OBD2, you know. OBD stands for onboard diagnostics. Just in case you didn't know, I'm sure you guys knew that already. But what we can do is I have, let me see this. This thing right here. This is an adjustable, yeah, it's adjustable resistor. That's what this is. It's an adjustable resistor. And what I can do is I can check the resistance on these lines, and then you spin this little thing over. See how it clocks? It's like a little clock, you know. So you spin it over until you get the resistance that you want. You know, so we can check the resistance. So at 68 degrees Fahrenheit, we should be at 2.45 plus or minus 0.24 kiloohms. So we'll turn this little clock till we get this to 2.45 kiloohms, and then we'll plug the connectors into that wiring connector so that it makes the thing think that the thermo sensor is at 68 degrees Fahrenheit. And will it start? I don't know. But we can check to see if there's a code. We can check to see if the code went away, you know, and then we'll know that this thing's working right, and then we'll see if the thing wants to start. And if not, then we'll try and move on to whatever's next, you know. And then at the same time, we'll get the customer a price on replacing that thermo sensor and that stuff. So let me see what I can do. I'm gonna try and dig that crud and stuff out of that connector and see if the connector is even good. Try and figure out where that thing goes. So let me start doing that. Okay, I got this thing hooked up. So why does this have 3 leads? So you can hook 2 leads up and you'll be at a certain resistance, and then you can just jump from one lead to the other and you'll jump a bunch of resistance, so you don't have to sit here spinning this thing a whole bunch. So let me show you. If I go between the blue and the red, I'm sitting at 1.212 kiloohms. If I go from the red to the black, now I'm sitting at 8.9, right? So, and as I turn this, it changes, right? But I'm looking for, what was it, 2.4? So I want to go back down here. So I hope that y'all can see this. Okay, so I'm turning it up. So we're looking for 2.4 kiloohms. 1, 2, 3, 4. You can fine tune it to exactly 2.4 if I want. So there's exactly 2.4 kiloohms. Well, I just moved it. Oh, okay, come on. Okay, 2.39. So it's very sensitive. So it's 2.409 kiloohms, and we want 2.45 plus or minus 24, or plus or minus 0.24. So we are definitely within that. So I'm going to try and figure out how I should be able to get some leads, hook it up to these two, the blue one and the red one, and go straight to that connector over there. And let's see what happens. Okay, hopefully y'all can see this. I have the adjustable resistor. I don't want to touch it any more than I have to. Got it plugged into this black lead right here, this red lead. They're going over here. These are the best 2 connectors I could get that plug into that thing right there. I'm leaning over, the vehicle's rolling because it's in neutral. So I did not disconnect the Battery, let's just see what happens when I turn the key on. Does it still blink a 03? If it does, we'll disconnect the battery. I still got the charger hooked up over there, and then we'll check it. So let's just turn the key on. Reach in here, turn on the key. It's beeping. 088888 15. Okay. We got a new code. There's a new code. There's a new code. We got a new code. 15. So we don't have the 03 anymore. So maybe what is 15? It's making progress. What is 15? Intake air temperature sensor, dynamic chamber. Maintains constant 68 degrees Fahrenheit command. I don't know what that means or why they even put that there. Okay, intake air temperature sensor. So now we're getting somewhere, right? I mean, that's 15 is the last code. So there's this intake air temperature sensor. Intake air temperature sensor. Where's the intake air temperature sensor? So this thing has got this mega, I don't know what you call it. It's a mass airflow, mega mass airflow. There's got to be a sensor somewhere around here in the intake. I'm sure that, you know, having this thing right here, this is not helping. But anyway, okay, moving on. Let's go and find out where the air intake temperature sensor is on this thing. See how we can diagnose that, and just move on to the next thing. I mean, maybe this thing, it can only give one code at a time, or from what I remember, which ain't much, the codes will set depending on which one is more important. The first code that's set is the most important one, but from OBD1 diagnostics, whenever you would just, you know, short the thing and you know, see the check engine light blink, and you would just count the blinks, it would give you all the codes, you know, and then you would go by the first code or highest number. I can't remember. Anyway, we had a 03, now we got code 15. So let's just check that, and let me find out where this sensor is and see if we can look at it. All right, I got some more, you know, papers, a bunch of papers here. Yeah, I mean, sue me, all right? I'm wasting paper. Actually, whenever I do diagnostics like this, all these papers that I print out, I staple them to the repair order. Yeah, sometimes I got big packets, you know, the back of my repair orders when they're major diagnostics. And the good thing about it is all of the repair orders, they get filed away. And if for some reason the vehicle came back or something, and I'm like trying to remember what did I do, because a lot of times I write little notes and stuff in here of, you know, ohm readings, voltages, stuff like that. I can always go and pull the file, and all my papers are there, and it shows me exactly what I did, you know, besides the story that I write. Anyway, so this is code 15. Are there any poor connections at the connectors? I don't know where. I don't even know where this thing is. Is the resistance of the intake air temperature sensor correct? Refer to 4A81. I printed that page out for A81, and basically it's the same thing. The same thing as the thermo sensor. They want you to check there's a bunch of readings here. So at 122 degrees Fahrenheit, or at 60, let's just say at 68 degrees Fahrenheit, it should be 41.5 plus or minus 4.15 kiloohms. And instead of putting the sensor in water, they want you to put it up next to a heating lamp. So yeah, that's the way Mazda would check stuff, you know. You got to have a heating lamp, you know, in your toolbox. you know, along with a you know, Bunsen burner, you know, and some kind of, you know, hot plate or something, I don't know. Anyway, so I'm looking at this thing, it's like, where, what color are the connectors? So it should be green and black. EM24 is the connector number. EM24 is green and black. And according to this picture, where's my pictures? I didn't print out a picture. Yeah, here's a picture. So I don't know if you can see that. EM24, it says it's at the back of the dynamic chamber. So this thing is pointing, it's EM24 right there. It's pointing at the back of the dynamic chamber. Yeah, let's see what we can see. So it should be back here somewhere. And this connector, look at this connector. I don't know if you can see this. This is black and green. Now, on the last video, when the thing wouldn't start, and I'm like, what, is everything plugged in? And I saw this, I was like, what the heck, what is that? What does that go to? I have no idea, and I just left it. I came back, and don't know if y'all can see, but there's a ground right here that is now attached to the slave cylinder bolt right there. I put that back. So this is the connector. Where does this go? What are we looking at here? Can y'all see it? I can't see anything. Can you see it? Oh wait. It's right there. Right there. Are you kidding me? Let's see if I can plug it in. If I can even see the thing. Where is it? I need your light. Plug it in. It's plugged in. Now it's plugged in. That's where that goes. Okay. Let's recheck this. Let's check this, and I mean, last time we didn't have to clear a code or anything. Let's just turn the key on and see what code we got next. Key on. Things making noise. 88, 88. 0. Does that mean we're done? Are we done? Should we try and crank it? Let me get the Noid light hooked back up and see if we got any pulsation, you know, any kind of injector drive at the injector. Let me get this cleaned up a little bit. Let me see. Let's see what happens. Okay, I got the thing hooked up. And of course it's sitting right here in this, you know, this air intake is open. It's actually holding this wiring harness in place. Right inside there is a Noid light. It's pretty bright. It should blink. Usually when I turn the key on, I'll see it blink once. Sometimes I do, sometimes I don't, but whenever I crank it, it should be blinking. So I'm gonna crank it over right now. Let's see what happens. Foot on the clutch, turn the key on, crank it. I kicked over. No. Okay, go one more time. Let's try one more time. I mean, I don't see it blinking, but it looked like it was trying to, it seemed like it was trying to kick over. Oh, God, okay. I mean, this has primary and secondary injectors. So these should, I think these are the primary injectors, so they should be firing every time. Why am I not getting any pulse? Why am I not getting injector drive? We know that the ignition coils are working. We know that the thing will start. I can sit here and I can activate that one injector in the back over there. It will put fuel in there. It will crank over. The engine will run. And you know, as long as I have somebody cranking it and I'm pushing on this thing right here, activating that injector, it's injecting fuel, I can get it to run. It won't run very good, but because it's just one injector, but it'll run. So if the crank position sensor wasn't reading correctly, then it shouldn't have any ignition, so we shouldn't have any spark. Now, I don't know a whole lot about this vehicle, but I do know that even in the modern day futuristic vehicles, OBD2 that we have now, if that crank position sensor is not working, it won't set a code. If it works sometimes and doesn't work other times, like it, you know, half working or whatever, then it could set a code. But if it just doesn't work at all, it won't set a code, because as far as the PCM is concerned, you're not even cranking the vehicle over. It doesn't know, so it won't set a code. This thing has no codes, of course. You know, this is medieval times. But we do know that the spark plugs are working. We do know that we're getting spark. We're getting, you know, spark from the ignition coils. So why aren't we getting injector drive? So I need to look deeper into this. I need to find out. We may have to pull the dashboard apart, because we might have to get to the PCM. There is another tester that you can hook up directly to the PCM, where you can check voltages and stuff at each individual thing without actually having to stick, you know, wires, you know, and stuff in the back of connectors and everything. I don't know if we got that, you know. I mean, we had this thing, so that's kind of a miracle. Did you check the fuses? No. Should I check the fuses? Oh, where are the fuses on this thing? I should probably do that. I mean, I'm just trying to figure out what's next. What do we do next now that we eliminated all the codes, and it's still not, still doesn't have injector drive. Let me try and ponder this and look through the book and see what I can find. Mazda has always been really good about having a troubleshooting diagnostics for what do you call it? Just symptom. They used to have, I mean, they still do have symptom flow charts, where you don't have to have a code, you know, but you have a specific symptom with no code, then there's a flow chart for that. I want to see if I can find that. See if they have had that way back then. I don't know. Yeah, we figure out what our next move is. All right, this is what I got. More paper. Yeah, so yes, I am reusing some of the papers that I already printed out, so I'm not reprinting stuff. So this is a troubleshooting guide. It's a symptom flow chart, and the first thing that it says is preliminary checks. So check the main relay, check the main fuse, circuit opening relay, check your fuses, your connectors, check vacuum hoses. Really? Just check all that stuff. So the main relay is working, because just looking at this flow chart right here, or this wiring schematic, we would not have power going to the ignition coils if the main relay wasn't working. And the same power that powers those ignition coils also powers the injectors. I know that I'm getting power at the injectors. You know, it's just the pulse of the pulse. Yeah, the pulse is a negative pulse coming from the PCM, or what they call the emissions control unit. Control unit. Anyway, so I know that's fine. Do I know all the fuses are good? I don't know that, so probably is a good thing to check. So this is a symptom flow chart for hard start or no start, but crank's okay. Perform troubleshooting with self-test diagnostic checker. Yeah, we did that. Not at first, but yeah, we got to it. Check ignition spark, ignition system. We know we're getting spark because the thing it'll kick over. You know, when you spray ether in there or get fuel into the system, it'll run, you know. So we know we're getting spark. Confirm operating sound of primary injectors. So it turns out the injectors that I'm checking on the top, those are the secondary injectors, but I know that if I put power and ground to that injector, I can hear it clicking, but I can guarantee you, because we're not getting any pulse or any injector drive from the controller, that it would not be clicking. You know, if we cranked it over and we listened to it, it wouldn't be clicking. So we're not getting an injector pulse. So that thing says confirm sound from primary injectors or secondary, whatever. You know, I wonder if there's a difference between the primary and secondary when it comes to cranking the thing over for cold start. It should get all injectors. At least that's what I believe. I don't know. So that says see page 4A69. You know, after that it says check water thermo sensor. Yeah, we've already checked that. Operation of the fuel pump switch, fuel pump. We know the fuel pump's working. We put a fuel pump in. A fuel pressure, we know we got fuel pressure. We got a new pump. Inspect for leakage. No, I don't smell anything leaking, so there's nothing leaking. Haven't seen any leaks. Check operation of control unit. Well, that we'll find out about that thing. Check the compression. I don't know. I don't know about the compression. Let's start where we know we have the problem, and that is confirm operating sound from the primary injectors. We know we're not going to get a sound. We're not getting any pulse. See page 4A69. 4A69 is basically telling you how to check the operating sound of the injectors. If operating sound is not heard, check the following. Check resistance of the crank angle sensor. Okay, so then we need to refer to page 4A52. 4A52, and it looks like a distributor. Disconnect the crank angle sensor connector. Connect the circuit tester to determine to the terminals of the crank angle sensor connector. Check the resistance. So we have resistances from G1 to G2. It's G and B, so I guess it's green and black. We should get 110 to 210 ohms. And then from R and W, I guess the red and white wires, we should get 110 to 210 ohms. So let's see. So another thing, just looking at this wiring schematic, the crank angle sensor, it has two connectors. It's got an E8, that's the one we're going to check it at the crank angle sensor, and it has FE04. Well, let me show this to you. I mean, the best that I can, the best that this camera can show anyway. So right here is the crank angle sensor, and we have I know it's not going to focus on that, E08 and FE42, FE04. So looking at where are these connectors at, so here is E08, we got LWGR. So L reminds me of lavender, which is actually blue, white, green, red. And then FE04, those are the same as red, green, white, blue. E08 goes down into this area. FE04 goes into that. It's like, what the heck is that? You can't even see that. Well, this right here on the top, that's the brake master cylinder reservoir. So it's down and all that junk. This is the ignition coil. Anyway, let's check this first. So right here, this is, it's kind of like a distributor. It goes down to the crankshaft or eccentric shaft, and it spins on the inside. It's got this wiring harness coming out of it. Here's your blue, white, red, and green wires. So, and it is plugged in. Then this moves over to this area, which I have no idea. I would have to look through all this and try and figure out what is what. I think I read something about check your resistor. So yeah, that's something. This is your main relay. I believe this is the main relay, which I'm pretty sure the thing's working. So I'm just looking for any other plugs. There's a plug down here. Oh my God, I can't even reach my hand in here. Oh, now I can't get my hand out. Okay, let's check this. So, you need to disconnect this. The ones that are coming off of it are different colors. Right, we got red and green, and we got brown with a stripe, and then we got another brown, or tan rather. So we see the brown with the black stripe is going to the blue. The white is going to the brown with no stripe. The green is going over here to green. And then the red is going to red down there. So let me get this disconnected and we'll ohm this out and see if this thing's even working. So what I wanted to do, and I forgot to do it, is check and see what it says to inspect if you're not getting any spark. Because you would think that that distributor looking thing would tell it when it's going to spark too. So, I mean, I would think that if we're getting spark, then that thing's working fine. Although, if you look into the schematic, and I know that y'all can't really see this correctly, there's two different resistors or whatever they are, pickups. I don't know what they are. So maybe one is for spark and one is for injector drive. And it is telling me to check both. Where is it? Where is it? Where's the thing? Where does it say? Right here. So they're showing to check these right here from that thing, that round thing right there. And these are our resistances. So let me just take that apart and let's check it and see what we got. All right, hopefully y'all can see this. This thing that plugs in like that. So we got white and red, blue and green. So it's white and red, blue and green. And I'm gonna turn this on. So what we want to check the white with the red, and then the green with the blue. Hopefully, these leads are starting to get old. I may have to change these out. I mean, if I'm checking one thing you want to do whenever you check resistance is check and see, why did this not turn on? What's going on? Is this not on? It's on. Okay, I'm holding them together. I'm at 0.2 ohms. So that's just ohming out my leads. So just take that into consideration, 0.2 ohms. So we want the white with the red. So I am going to stick this in there, and this connector is smaller than what actually fits in there, so I should be able to just stick it in there, no problem, without widening out the terminal, messing up the pin tension. So it says it's 169.5 ohms. So I should have 110 to 210 ohms. So that is within spec. Let's go to the next one. should be green and blue, which basically these next two. So plug in that right there. We shouldn't get anything. Plug in this right here. What do we got? 167 ohms. So that's within spec. 110 to 210. So these are within spec. So now what? Now I need to do some research, more checking, more books, more paper. Let's print out more paper. Whenever in doubt, just print out a bunch of paper. You'll eventually get it, right? Maybe I shouldn't say that because we're dead in the water. So I want to find this connector that's over here. I want to find out where it is. I'm going to do a little bit more research, find out where it is, and we can ohm out that connector, plug this distributor looking thing back in over here, find the connector over here, ohm it out from there, which will be not only ohming out that, which we already know what the resistance is on that, but we can ohm it out from here, which will be checking the harness. And then what? I guess pull the dashboard apart and go to the PCM and check to see if we got something there. It would be cool if we could crank the thing over and actually see it doing something. My guess is I would have to hook up an oscilloscope for that, which we can do. I have an oscilloscope, we can do that. But I don't know what the spec is. What's the spec supposed to be? I mean, I'm pretty sure it's just on off, you know. But at what hertz, at what ratio, what, you know. And I'm pretty sure that depends on the speed of the crank shaft. So let me do some research. I'm gonna try and find this connector, this FE04. Find out where that is and check it out there, and just move on from there and see what we can find, see what happens. Okay, this is where I am with this. I have been working on this thing all day long. I sold a customer a 3-hour diagnostic and I've been on it all day. So I found had to go to the PCM, the ECU, whatever you want to call it, and here it is right here. See that part number right there? It's a N338-18881A. Anyway, why am I giving you the part number? Well, I'll tell you about that. I got this right here, this old monitor, engine signal monitor. And this will go through every single one of those plugs. So I have it plugged in line, I have it plugged into that, and then I have it plugged into the harness. So you could actually run the engine if the engine ran, and you can check all your parameters, every single one, what your voltages are and stuff like that. If you need to ohm something out, you have these connectors right here. So this is a really cool tool. So with that comes this. Let me show you this. This right here tells you how to hook it up, and it has every single parameter of every single input and output for every single thing. And I went through every single thing. I was checking it, I was writing down some notes right here and stuff, things that are different. And I had to hook up that one injector. Had that injector disconnected. I had to hook that up, and I mean it's giving feedback, everything. What is it? The crank position sensor or whatever. I'm getting a signal to this, to the PCM through this. I'm getting the signal, so it's getting the signal. So for everything that I can tell, it's getting the signal. Even that thermo what is it, the coolant thermo sensor, and I was adjusting on that little resistor, and I was watching this thing move and stuff. So from what I can tell, and I've checked everything, from what I can tell, it's a bad PCM, the controller, emissions controller, engine controller, ECU, whatever you want to call it. That part number right there that I showed you. The only other thing I could do that I haven't done is contact Techline. I wonder what they would say. Hey, I got a 1988 Mazda RX7. I need you to help me diagnose. They would probably yell at me. I mean, I guess I could do that, but everything that I've checked, and I've gone over everything in this, I think I know this vehicle pretty well now, just because I've been over everything. I went to the parts department and we went through all these part numbers right here. These are the super sessions. I know this thing's not going to focus on that. Anyway, the super session history of the PCM, and it's no longer available, which means this could just shut her down right now. I mean, without it, the car's not going to run. So I don't know what we're going to do. The only thing I can do is try to find a used one online or something. Maybe there's a company that can rebuild them. There are RX7 enthusiasts, companies that may actually have these or have them aftermarket-ish type. I don't know. I'm gonna have to look into that. So that is what I'm gonna do. That is where we're at. The thing needs a new PCM, ECM, ECU, emission control unit, whatever you want to call it. It needs it, and that's the only way this thing's gonna run. From what I can tell, that's the only way this thing's gonna run. I could contact Techline, you know, maybe I can do that, but I'm pretty sure they're not going to know anything more than I do. Because, yeah, those, I mean, oh, well. Yeah, so I will do some checking online and see what I can come up with, and I will let you know. Well, truth going on and being told, it's been well over a week since I looked at this. So forgive me if I say something that I said 5-10 minutes ago, because I don't remember. But look, we got some parts. So this is what happened. We needed to replace the PCM, ECU, control unit, engine control module, whatever you want to call it. And of course they don't make it anymore, but I got one in the mail, and it was used. It's a used unit. It came out of a burned RX7, exactly like this. It's the exact same part number as this. That one had a engine fire, and of course the engine is gone. The vehicle was destroyed on the front. It wasn't that bad, but it didn't look very good. So that's for sure. And this is the control unit out of it. Is this control unit good? I don't know. We don't know. I mean, usually when there's fire, means that there was a bunch of water, right? So they got to put the fire out somehow. Did water get in here and damage it? I don't know. We're gonna find out, I guess. Also, I got this right here. This is the thermo sensor, the water thermo sensor, and this one was in stock in Dallas at the Parts Distribution Center in Dallas. And that's it right there. Of course, this piece of it right here is stuck inside there, and we need to get it out. Hopefully it comes out. Did I get this little washer thing right here? No, I didn't get that. Why not? Why didn't you get it? Seriously, do I need to say it? I'm sounding like a broken record. Parts department didn't get it, parts department didn't get it, parts department didn't get it, parts department didn't get it. I didn't get it. So yeah, I got this. So why did they have this? The only thing I can think of is this is used by other vehicles more, you know, probably, I'm guessing the RX-8 used it. I know the RX-8, this is an old type terminal end right here. So they don't use this kind of terminal end anymore, but I believe that the RX-8 did, and I'm sure there are other Mazdas that use it. I can guarantee you there's other Mazdas, at least, you know, the older vehicles use them for sure. And eventually this will probably go away too, but we got one. We got a brand new one. So I want to put this in. Hopefully I can get that other piece out of there and do that first. And I'm going to pull it out. A bunch of water is going to come out. I'm going to shove this thing back in there, and you know, it only has water in it, so you know, it's going to make a mess, yeah. But get this in there, hook it up, and then we'll check and see if it has the code for this, just to make sure this is right. It should be perfectly fine. So we'll do that first, and then we're gonna replace this ECU, or whatever. Okay, so it's called a PCM. So this is what I've been told. This is how it goes, you know, over the years. This is what I've been told. PCM is stands for Powertrain Control Module, and that module is programmable. So you can go in, you can program it, do a logic improvement or whatever. This is the old ECM, Engine Control Module, non-programmable by the service department. Back in the day, if these went out or anything went out because of this, you just had to replace it. You couldn't program it. If something was wrong emissions wise and it wasn't programmed properly from the factory, you had to just replace it. Back in the early 90s, if you had to replace it, you could take the ROM chip. You would have to take the ROM chip out of the old one and put it into the new one. This one, you can't take anything out of it. You just got to swap it. Then they came out with a PCM, Powertrain Control Module, which is programmable. So you can program and, you know, wipe it, program it. I'm sure that, you know, somebody that rebuilds these or at the factory, they can definitely see what's going on with the thing. We can't. And the thing about this is, when it comes to powertrain control modules, PCMs, ECUs, HECUs, any module, there's nothing that can test the module. It's a process of elimination. You check everything else out, and if everything else is good, it's got to be what's left over, you know, which is the ECM, PCM, or whatever. And I'm sure at the factory, they can hook these things up to oscilloscopes, put power to them, switch things, and they can actually check them. We can't do anything like that. Matter of fact, the best thing we can do is like this, when I was using this thing. And I went through this, and this pretty much checked all of the voltages going and coming from all of the sensors here to that control module, and that list gives you exactly what the voltages should be, and everything, pretty much everything, looked spot on. So it's a guess, and I guarantee you technicians don't like doing that. They don't like guessing, you know, and especially when it comes to something expensive like a powertrain control module or whatever module it is, ECU, electronic control unit, which can basically be any module in the vehicle. So it kind of makes you feel just not so good, you know. It's like, is it that? Is it not? What is it? And the only thing we can do is the best that we can do, and that's just check everything, and if everything seems fine, then just replace what is left over, and that's that unit right there. We're gonna open that box and see what's in there. And I want to test this thermo sensor. I want to test this thing just to see, compared to what the spec is, just to make sure this is right. I'm sure that it is, but I want to test it anyway before we put it on there. So let's go ahead and do that, and we're gonna throw this thing on there real quick, and then we'll get to that control unit. I'm gonna test this water thermo sensor, and this is a spec on it. If it's 68 degrees Fahrenheit, then it should be 2.45 kiloohms plus or minus 0.24 kiloohms. If it's 176 degrees Fahrenheit, it should be 0.32 kiloohms plus or minus 0.032 kiloohms. And if it's -4 degrees Fahrenheit, then it is should be 16.2 kiloohms plus or minus 1.62 kiloohms. So let's just test it and see what it's at. So I'm just gonna, just for the heck of it, I just want to test this thing. And I've already opened it and I can't get it out of the bag. Okay. So I am just going to, I don't know if you can see this. Just gonna check these two leads right here, or this terminal end, and it is at 1.59 kiloohms. So that would be, okay, it's at 1.59, so 0.245, so 0.245 kiloohms is 68 degrees. It's at 1.59, which means that it's hotter than 68 degrees. It's definitely hotter than 68 degrees. Matter of fact, it's 87 degrees in the shop right now. So, and what happens is the hotter it gets, the less resistance there is in it. Which is, it's an opposite thing, and that's the way usually coolant temperature sensors are. So the hotter they get, the less resistance, and the cooler it gets, the more resistance, which is opposite of what normal physics, I guess, I don't know how to say it, would be, because usually heat, resistance causes heat, so that's just a weird thing. Anyway, it's good. So I'll try and get this thing in there, see how quickly I can get it in without making too much of a mess, and then we'll plug it in, make sure it doesn't have a code, and then we'll move on to this. Let's look at this thing right here. Let's see what's in here. I mean, there could be anything. It could be, you know, something present left over from last year or something. So let's get you up here. Sorry about that. So let me, they got it all wrapped up. Engine brain box. That's what they call it. Engine brain box. And it actually has it's a 1988. It has the actual VIN number of the RX7 that it came out of. Engine control module. Electronic control module, engine brain box. Okay. And it looks like, wow, this stuff's pretty tough. I mean, it looks like it for sure. I just want to look at the part number. It smells burnt. No, it doesn't smell burnt. It was in a fire. So that's the part number right there, N338-18881A. That is the part number of the one that's in there. So it doesn't smell burnt. And it even has the warning warranty voided if removed. So this hasn't even been removed, it hasn't been opened or anything. It looks like it's in pretty good condition. There's a little knock right there. We'll find out. We'll see what happens. So first, let's get this thing in and let's see what happens. I found a crush washer, that's what it is. It's a crush washer, and I stuck it on the end of this thing right here. Is it the one that goes on it? No, it is one that I guarantee it came from an RX-8, probably oil line or something, maybe fuel line or something where a banjo bolt goes on. Does it fit perfectly? No, it doesn't, but I super glued it in place, and what matters is that it's gonna crush and it's gonna seal. So and like I said, it's not brand new, but it's never been used, so it'll work. Get in here. I had to pull part of the bolt out of the back, the nut. It's the nut out of the back of the alternator. It's got this little tab on here that's supposed to go around and hold a harness that goes behind it. This tab was kind of in the way, so I pulled this off just to give me a little bit more room. I'm gonna get in there with a 19mm ratchet wrench and try and pop the thing out. Hopefully it turns and hopefully it comes out. As soon as I do that, water's gonna shoot out everywhere, and I'm gonna shove this thing in there, and then this fits right inside there, and I'm going to tighten it back up. So let's see what happens. Okay, I know it's hard to see, but it's actually underneath the alternator. This goes right in here. It's right there. And let's stick this, hopefully this will fit in here. The alternator may be in the way, and yeah, that's what it looks like. I have to remove the alternator. Okay, so let me remove the alternator. This bolt, I mean, it's kind of loose. So let me remove the alternator, just so it'll be easier to do. Okay, now it might be a little bit easier with this harness over here. So move that out of the way. That's the connector for it. And it's right there. Let's see if we can get this off. Don't tell me there's something else in the way. Come on. Oh yeah, it's coming off. I think I can get it off by hand. I was worried that it was gonna be stuck. Y'all can't see anything. My hand's in the way. And I got no water coming out. Wow, okay. So there it is. New one going in. Tighten that down. Don't break the brand new connector end. This fits right over it. Try not to over tighten it with this long ratcheting wrench. Okay, that is it. And this thing, which doesn't have a clip on it anymore, so there's supposed to be a wire that holds that thing on. It doesn't need it as long as it stays in place. There it is, it's on there. That's it. I'll get the alternator back on and we'll hook up that tester thingamabob and see if it has any code. This should not have any code for this. That is the whole idea, no code. While I'm here, actually, see if you can see this. Right down here, right there is a vacuum hose, vacuum tube. This vacuum line, which is, it's pretty stiff, but this is for the fuel pressure regulator. It's supposed to go right inside there. I think what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna see if I can stick this on, see if it'll reach. If not, then I'll just find some vacuum hose, see if I can get that thing off of there. Grab a pair of pliers. This is the broken vacuum hose piece. I'm gonna pop it off. It's probably gonna go flying or something. Let's see if I can grab it without messing up the vacuum tube. That's it right there. Okay. This might not even fit on there because this hose is so stiff, it might just crack or something. Just trying to fit it in there. No, it's not gonna wanna go. This hose is really stiff. I can't even squeeze it. It's an old rubber hose. I can't even squeeze this thing. It doesn't even bend. So I'm gonna let me find a piece of vacuum hose and stick that in there. Well, I don't remember. What are we doing? What's going on? I've been taking off this vehicle over and over and over again. I can't remember where we are or what we're doing or the last things I even said. I got the alternator back on, if I hadn't told you that. So let's see, let me grab a light here. So I got the alternator back in place, like the thermo switch or whatever is in place, water coolant thing. This bolt right here, this nut, the back right there, it has this little bracket that holds the wiring harness in place. So I got that in place, trying to keep it away from this rod right here. So that rod that moves up and down right there, trying to hold this light. So, okay, I got all that in place. This right here, I don't know what that is. I don't know where that goes. That's nice, that's great. It may be a test connection, because there are actually test connections on this vehicle in various spots and stuff for testing certain things. I've noticed that in the manual when looking through the manual. Hopefully that's all that is, because I don't see a switch or a connector or any place where that thing connects in. I'm going to get this hooked up right here. Get this hooked up, hook up the battery, and let's just see if we have any codes. Shouldn't have any codes. We get this hooked up real quick, and then we'll see if there are any codes. If there's no codes, then we'll move on to replacing that engine control unit, and we'll see what happens. All right, I got the thing hooked up, and I'm getting zero across the board. So I have no codes. So now I am going to replace this. Still got this wiring harness for this thing hooked up, and let's move this out of the way. So it's still plugged in here. This is the harness for the tester. So I'll get this disconnected and get this thing out of here, put the new one in, and then we'll see. It should, you know, be perfectly fine, right? Yeah, it's gonna be fine. So let's go. Okay, I got it in. It's in there. I got the battery hooked up. Moment of truth. Here goes nothing. Let's see what happens. My foot on the clutch. Ready? Why didn't it start? Come on. What is it doing? If I can smell fuel. Come on. What's it doing? Come on. Bring the fire and brimstone. Is it flooded? Why is it teasing me? Come on. Why is it doing that? Come on. Let's go. Okay. Oh my God. Okay, so it's doing something that it wasn't doing before. For sure. I mean, it's cranking over. It's starting, and then it dies. It's such a tease. It's such a tease. Why? Why? Come on. Okay. There may be something else going on here. Maybe injectors. It may be injector related. Oh God. But I mean, it's firing. It's obviously getting, you know, some kind of injector drive now. So I need to look into what, I mean, maybe we can check codes. Maybe codes have come up since I've been cranking it. So let's do that. See if there are any codes. Man, we are so close. So close. Oh, yes. Let's go ahead and check codes. Look at this. It's running. Why is it running? What happened? I don't know. I don't know. I'm here messing with this mass airflow sensor, trying to figure out anything. I'm looking at anything and everything that I possibly can. It had absolutely no codes coming up, and I just decided to check and see if I had injector pulse, and I wasn't getting injector pulse, and I don't think that my little homemade meter thing here was incorrectly. So I just started messing with this, and I just kept cranking it, and it started right up, and then I stuck the injector back in. So it's running. Yeah, let's see if we have any throttle, or is it gonna just stall? That's $6 right there. That sounds like a sewing machine. Yeah, it's going. I'm gonna have to shut her down though, because I don't know if we got any kind of water or coolant or something in it, because I replaced that sensor and nothing came out, so I'm not gonna keep it running. Let me shut it off. And I didn't even have my foot on the gas or anything. Using my right foot on the clutch. There it is. It's idling kind of high. Let's see. It's going down 2 grand. It's sitting around 2,000 RPM. That's kind of high. I'm not going to worry about that right this second. I can hear the clutch engaging. Okay. Let's see. I got both doors open. I got the lift pushed over there. So let me just see if I can get this in gear. Let's see. It's moving. Yeah. I do have the brake on because I was rolling around. But it runs. It runs. So I'm gonna shut her down. I'm gonna check the coolant, and then we'll go through everything and see what's going on. See if I can put this back together and see if the thing still runs after that. I'm gonna tighten this up. That air box is still, everything's still loose there. Take this off. Oh, look at that. That right there, that's bad. That is bad. I mean, the thing hasn't been running long enough for it to build up any pressure. So, yeah, that's bad. That means that compression is getting into the cooling system, which means that it's a bad engine. The engine's bad. So, oh my God, yeah, let me look into this. I mean, I pulled that thing off in there earlier, and I mean, you saw it. There was no coolant coming out, no water or anything like that. If you remember, I think it was on the very first video when we pulled this thing in, and I first pulled this open to check it. The very first thing that we saw was that there was pressure in it, and there shouldn't have been pressure. I mean, I had been cranking on it. We sprayed some ether in there, and we had, you know, kind of started a little bit like that, but there shouldn't have been pressure in there. That was bad. Yeah, and I just kind of ignored it, like let's, you know, pretend we didn't see that kind of thing. But now it's coming back to bite us. That is not good. There should not be any pressure in there. This system is not hot at all. I mean, I just relieved whatever pressure was in there, and yeah, let me grab a light. So it looks like there might be a little bit of coolant in there, and I don't think, honestly, the way that looks, I don't know if you can see that. It doesn't look like rust. It might be kind of bars leak because it has kind of a metallic-y look to it. So what I'm gonna do, hopefully without putting you all in danger, I'm gonna set you up right here and I'm gonna start it. Look at that, watch that. Put this light right here. Let's see, put this light right here. If that thing comes out like, you know, like a fountain, then that's bad. I'm gonna start it up. This thing should not shoot coolant out or water or anything. Let's see what happens. So it's not really shooting it out. I'll shut it down. It's not really shooting it out, but it doesn't look good either. So I'll have to look into that. Okay, this is what I'm gonna do. I am gonna put all this back together. I'm gonna try and put everything together. I'm gonna get this air box put back together, and I am going to put the passenger side floorboard back together with a new ECU in it, and I'll put a little bit of coolant in it, and we're gonna start it up and we're gonna go drive it. Yeah, I mean, that's what I want to do. That's the goal. That's what we've been trying to do this entire time. You know, let's drive the thing. Might not drive it on the highway though, not yet. Until we know the state of this engine. You know, maybe it'll come back around, you know? Maybe it's not overheating, maybe that's normal. I don't know, it's an RX7. I don't know. RX8 doesn't have that issue. I don't know. I'm gonna tighten all this stuff up, we're gonna put it all back together, and we're gonna go drive it, and we're gonna see what happens. If this engine, you know, overheats, then we'll know, hey, it's got an issue. You know, if it blows a hose, this hose is kind of, yeah, it's kind of spongy. Then we'll know, hey, there's an issue, it's building up compression in the cooling system, and it needs an engine, you know. Just, you know, plain and simple. If it does that, it just needs an engine. Let's just put an engine in it. I know for a fact that the owner wants to get this thing running. They want to, you know, get it fixed up, you know, make it a good driver, you know, weekend driver, cars and coffee, something like that. That's cool. That's exactly what I want to do. And that's exactly the whole purpose of this YouTube channel, is to get cars like this back out on the road, living life one more time. It makes me so happy that, that he wants to do that. So if it needs an engine, you know, there's a good chance that he may say, yes, let's do it. But, you know, hopefully it doesn't. And let me just get all this put back together, and let's go drive it and see what happens. Okay, let's just see if this thing will move under its own power. I mean, it moved like 2 feet, less than 2 feet. It's coming down. This shifter has a lot of slop in it. Reverse. Brakes. Forward. Brakes. Yeah. Okay, let's go for a ride. Let's see what happens. Let's take this thing out. Parking lot drive. A lot of slop in this shifter. Oh my God. Brakes are working, clutch is working. Okay, it's bogging down. Yeah, so at full throttle, it won't go over 4 grand. See if I can make this turn. It's second gear. There's just not enough room in this parking lot to do this. I'm pretty much 4-wheeling over here. Yeah, it for some reason, it won't go over 4 grand. when it's in gear. If you hear that, yeah, that's, I'm not feathering the gas pedal. I got my foot to the floor. Maybe we should take it out on the road. So if I don't put my foot all the way to the floor, it will go over $4 grand. I have good voltage. I got good oil pressure. The coolant temperature is in the normal range. Should we try it? Should we try it? I mean, it's running so smooth. What's going on with this clutch? I mean, it's fine. It's fine. Yeah, it definitely has a flat spot. There's a flat spot in the throttle. I can't get it in the third gear. Okay, there it goes. Fourth gear. 60 miles an hour. It's got flat spots on the tires too. Okay, so not a good sign. The coolant temperature is like cooling down, like massively cold now, which means that we may be too low on coolant. I smell something burning, but I think that I just passed some place with, they were cooking barbecue or something. These brakes need to definitely burn in. Turn signals work. It has a flat spot right at $4 grand. So I'm in second gear. Right at 4,000, it's just like dying. Let off the gas and it takes off, and then it's back and forth and back and forth. Third gear. Yeah, we're getting on the highway. Good luck to us. Fourth gear. Fifth gear, 70 miles an hour. Flat spots on the tires, big time. The coolant temperature shows to be cold. The needle's barely moving up and down. Look at the steering wheel. You can see that. The whole car is shaking. Hold together. It shows that we got no fuel, but we know what's up with that. AC works. coming out. I'll put it on the heater. Now we got to stop at a stoplight. I hope that we don't overheat or die. Green, let's go. Yeah, so I put my foot to the floor. I don't know if you heard that. It's like time to shift. It was like $7 grand. I put my foot to the floor, and right around $4 grand, it kind of idle came down, or the RPMs came down, and then they came back up. So it kind of worked its way through it. So I might be getting better. This thing, I mean, it's not like it's a ripper, you know, but it definitely is fast. It's a sewing machine. It's like sky's the limit once it gets up to higher RPM. And I mean, she's working. She's going. Like right now, she's going. It doesn't care. That's amazing. Brakes are working, clutch is working. I mean, that's what it came in for, you know, the clutch is working. Okay, let's try something. How good is this clutch? I don't know what that noise is. We might be overheating. Yeah, okay. And shut it down. Hopefully it doesn't explode. There was a light on the dash that said add coolant. And that's what that beeping noise was. It said add coolant. So that's it. Whew, we made it. Okay, look at this. I don't know if you can tell, that hose right there looks like it's about to explode. So that definitely needs to be replaced. So I can hear like a little bit of bubbling coming from here. I don't know if it's overheating because it's overheating, or overheating because the engine is putting compression into the cooling system, or it's overheating because, you know, it's low on coolant. I believe that it's low on coolant for sure. And the thing said add coolant, so I'm gonna mess with this still a little while, but I mean, it's running, and I might find out that it needs an engine or something like that. But for now, we have done what we set out to do with this car, and we drove it, and we drove it on the highway too. And it's not a ripper, but it most definitely has potential for sure. And if it had new tires, new cooling system, maybe new, you know, other stuff, it would be really good. It would be a really good car. If this is the last time we see it, you know, this is the last time we see it. But if we're going to replace the engine or do something weird like that, then we will have another video on this. I thank you so much for sticking around and watching the adventures of this vehicle, the RX7. And I appreciate the heck out of each and every one of you. Don't forget to hit that thumbs up button. Don't forget to subscribe, and I will see you in the next one.